This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. This is the Fast Break Podcast. We are now live on twitch.tv/mostvaluablepodcast. Go over and follow us there if you are not. If you're on YouTube or listening to us somewhere else, we very much appreciate it. I am Sean Anderson. Alongside me, as always, is Ricky Widmer.
What's up, guys? Finger guns can now be back.
Yes, because and because we're not in mourning. And Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
And today we're going to be talking about the Clint Capela trade. Did the Hawks make the right move? Then we'll be talking Wet Boys. Then we will move into the Eastern Conference, talk about who the favorite is there. We did that last year with Jake. We're going to welcome him back. I was right last year. Shocker. I'm going to bring that up because I'm always going to bring up when I was right. I said the Raptors were the favorites, and boom, they won the finals.
When Colin was right.
But I'm cooler. And then we'll talk about the D'Angelo Russell trade, and we'll see if D'Angelo Russell and Karl-Anthony Towns will fit together in Minnesota. And then we'll probably get into the Wiggins talk as well. And we know that, since we are live on Twitch.tv, we know Kyle Craig already thinks Wiggins is a good fit in Golden State. So again, if you are available, don't forget to join us in our Twitch stream, twitch.tv/mostvaluablepodcast when we are live. Also, final thing, check us out on patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast. We're going to have Jake on later, so if you want to be like Jake, be on a podcast, support us at patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast. But let's jump into the news. Trade deadline came and went 2 days ago. It was February 6th is the day that it all happened and went down, and it was a massive trade the day before on the 5th that this started all this off. And Woj and Shams reported the first flurries of moves. In the trade, the Rockets get Robert Covington and Jordan Bell from the Wolves, and the Hawks got the Hawks 2024 second-round pick. Then the Hawks got Clint Capela and Nene from the Rockets, and then Atlanta waived Nene a day later. The Nuggets got the Wolves' Keita Bates-Diop, Shabazz Napier, Noah Vonleh, the Rockets' Gerald Green, who was then waived, and a Houston's first-round pick in 2020. The Wolves get the Nuggets' Malik Beasley, Juancho Hernan-Gomez, and Jared Vanderbilt, as well as the Hawks' Evan Turner, and the Hawks' 2020 first-round pick via the Brooklyn Nets. Then the Hawks waived Chandler Parsons. There was also deals that sent Shabazz Napier to Washington and Jordan McRae to Denver. It was a messy deal, and I also think that
Jordan Bell for Bruno Caboclo.
Yes, so the Rockets then got Bruno and sent Jordan Bell to the Grizzlies. Am I missing anything else?
Cash considerations.
I don't think there was cash consideration.
Well, Jordan Bell. So
somehow, with all of these people, they did not need cash considerations.
Jordan Bell is cash.
There was a cash considerations deal from the Warriors, though. That was a different deal. Mm-hmm. Yes, that was a different deal out there, but yeah. They did get a cash considerations out there.
There were so many trades.
And
so many minor trades.
It felt like it was like
there's going to be no moves at the deadline.
Okay, there was moves, but like there was the Drummond trade was the most shocking.
I love
but it's also the most pointless trade.
The Drummond trade, the Capela trade, and the Wiggins.
We're both wrong because I made the declaration. Yeah, D'Lo's not getting moved at the deadline. He gets moved. You made the declaration, Iggy is not getting moved at the deadline. He got moved.
That one was the most shocking one. Yeah. That one was crazy.
It was nuts.
We'll jump into that a little bit in Wet Boys because I feel like that's going to be a shorter segment, so we can recap some of the other moves. But let's talk about this one because this one I think is probably the most shocking one because I think the Nuggets got 100% better. The Hawks made an interesting move, being buyers, being also one of the worst teams in the NBA, and the Rockets are like fuck centers. So which part of this do you find the most interesting? The Rockets, the Nuggets, the Hawks, or maybe even the Wolves?
For me, it's got to be the Rockets. Like full on tinfoil. Like we don't play with bigs. We're just going entirely small ball lineup. I think I've seen them referred to as the Pocket Rockets multiple times now, and I absolutely love the name. They went out there against the Lakers and continued to perform well. Rocco's opening performance with the Rockets, he looked comfortable already. He knows the role. He knows what he needs to do in that offense. And he shot like 4-7 from 3, had some good defense out there in space. And it's just one of those things where I wonder what what this will look like during the playoffs. But for now, I think the fact that they're playing with an entirely small ball lineup is interesting. It works really well to their benefit because Russell Westbrook gets to control the paint completely on his own. James Harden's more effective when that happens. He's been in a shooting slump, and they've been able to carry through because of Russell Westbrook over the last month basically playing his ass off and getting to like peak performance almost. I know his 3-point shooting's not there, and that was a big whiff on me during the preseason. My expectations for him were way off. But he's learned that, and someone's gotten through to him and they're like, hey, you know how you play like really well in, closing out, driving through the mid-range, all that shit? How about you just change your shooting splits and center it more closer to the rim, like play to your own strengths? And he's like, it's a good idea. Maybe I should do that. And it's worked out absolutely great for them. So I'm huge on the Rockets with this move. I still expect them to go out and get, if someone gets bought out, they're going to, like a center. They'll be interested probably. But like I think they're probably going to be pretty good just going small ball and have to throw in our boy Hartenstein every couple of minutes when you need him.
I love
Your
that.
boy.
I love that, dude. Is there a certain center on the buyout market that you think could be available, or any names that you've heard floating around that you think would be a good fit?
The couple names I've heard out there, and I don't know how realistic they are, TT is the biggest name. Obviously, people think he would be a game changer for multiple teams.
Yeah.
He's got playoff experience. He can guard out on the perimeter, and he's a catch and finish kind of a player.
Yeah.
So like he would be great for teams. The other name I've heard,
Still super small.
yeah,
For a center,
6'9". Yeah. I mean that's
but it would immediately become the tallest player.
He would absolutely would be. The other one I think I heard, Bismack Biyombo potentially would be a buyout, but some people are like, why would they even buy him out? Like he's going to be done anyway. So.
Well, yeah, I wonder that with the Cavs too. He's going to be done after this year as well, and he's making $18 million. So I don't understand the point of buying out TT, but maybe good faith.
Yeah, and that's the thing is
kind of like the Marvin Williams thing, right? From the
Hornets.
Hornets?
He already had announced he was going to be retiring after the year, so they're going to give him one more chance to go. Try to win a ring, and he signed with the Bucks, right? Kemba's interview. Did you see that?
Yeah, he was all pissed off.
Yeah.
And the thing with Marvin Williams too is that it gives them like Ersan, but like a little bit quicker. But also I think I don't know, but a less.
Ersan's a better shooter still.
Yeah, better shooter and then a better ball handler too. Ersan's got some handles, weirdly enough.
Yeah, when Giannis was out there running Ersan ball, that was scary.
Yeah, but they go play faster with Marvin Williams. That's a good pick, but we're not going to get in Marvin Williams talk. Could you imagine if we donated a whole or dedicated a whole topic to Marvin Williams and the Bucks?
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
that's just our small forward player ranking.
Tragic, absolutely tragic that my boy Dragon Bender got cut. To make room for him.
And he sucks.
I hope he gets picked up. I don't think he's done in the league.
Yeah, I think
he was dominating the G League, and he's 7 feet tall, and he can shoot threes.
He sucks.
Someone will pick him up.
He's so slow-footed.
He's Luke Cornett-esque.
Hey, Luke Cornett's made a career.
With better passing, and he's 21.
That is true. Maybe there is a career for him at some point. Ricky, what part of the deal do you find most interesting? Is the Hawk side, is the Rocket side, the Wolves side?
It's the Hawk side. And the reason being is looking at this deal, I feel like obviously Drummond would have been the main prize. But like Soapy told us during the watch along, him being our resident Pistons fan, in the Discord, is I guess Drummond didn't want to like sign on the dotted line and say, hey, here's a contract extension for you. But I like the Hawks. They literally gave up almost the same. I even think looking at this, it might be a little bit less than what they would have given up for Drummond. And they get a guy who Houston used him in the regular season, but when it gets to the playoffs, he's useless for the Rockets because he's always getting pulled off the court because of how teams play in the playoffs. And they get that center, and he's locked down for multiple years after this. Like, that's what I like.
It's a good get.
The Brooklyn pick they were going to give up for Drummond anyways. It seemed like that pick didn't matter to them. And the only other pick they lost was a 2024 second-round pick that they got from Golden State. So it's like, that to me is the winner. You get Clint Capela, and you don't have to give up the farm, basically, to get him.
I think it's interesting that you bring up the fact that they would have given up less in this deal than a Drummond deal because, I mean, they didn't give up anything. They gave up Brandon Knight and John Henson and I think a first. No, it was a second. I think they could have honestly gotten Drummond for cheaper, but it was the whole the length of the contract.
Yeah, because didn't you say he refused to sign a long-term deal?
So he said he was like, I'm not signing an extension.
He did have his player option, so you could have had him possibly for one more year if you wanted to accept the $28 million. But I think the Cavs, why not give it a run, see what happens? They didn't give up anything.
Form a fucking wall.
And also, when discussing the Hawks too, you got to also mention that they did end up acquiring Dwayne Dedmon back. So they got Dwayne Dedmon. Also
that
got
one too.
Draft considerations from Atlanta, and they got rid of Alex Len and Jabari Parker. So I mean, they did fill out their center position, which I do find interesting. But I find it so weird that a team like this is buying, and that's what I find most interesting.
Really?
The team that improved the most, I think, was the Nuggets from this trade. I think they got really their bench is disgusting.
Can you just do the Nuggets in and out real quick? I know you wrote off the full trade, but just a reminder.
So it was Juancho and Malik Beasley
Out.
Shabazz Napier technically out because they ended up moving him out once they fully acquired him. They waived Gerald Green after acquiring him. They got the Rockets 2020 first round pick.
Okay.
And then they also got Keita Bates-Diop and Noah Vonleh. So the players that they acquired and are still on their team: Keita Bates-Diop, Noah Vonleh, and then they also got Jordan McRae.
Okay.
From the Wolves, and they got rid of Shabazz Napier. Because I was hearing something about Shabazz that they were going to try to make a play for Drew and somehow include Shabazz Napier, but I don't think that deal got done, so they ended up going to get Jordan McRae. So they got Keita Bates-Diop, Noah Vonleh, Jordan McRae, and a first-round pick from the Rockets. I think they ended up improving the most because I think their bench now, you got solidified guys out there. You fill out your front court and back court. McRae's a great scorer off the bench.
Yes.
And while Malik Beasley's likely the better player, he's not going to sign back with you, where McRae is likely more obtainable and you can keep around for longer. And you also get a first-round pick, which I think is smart. But I think with the Hawks, I find them the most interesting because, again, I didn't understand the idea of going out and getting a big when you are so bad. What is the point of this when you possibly could have signed just Drummond if he opted out the year after? And that was my whole thing before we got into the trade, before we saw the whole details. But with what they ended up giving up, I don't know if it's actually a bad idea to go out and do this because Capela is going to be around for a while. He's locked down, so that's something that I think is better than the Drummond deal.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have done a Drummond deal because he possibly could have opted out, but now you have him through 2022, 2023, Capela. And you gave up Brooklyn's first, which you got for the Allen Crabbe deal, so KD could sign with Brooklyn.
Yeah.
So really, you ended up getting Clint Capela for Allen Crabbe in some way. So I honestly really love this deal for the Hawks, and I found it interesting just seeing that a team that was so bad ended up going up and buying. And it was kind of like the Minnesota deal as well, and we'll get into that a little bit later, the fact that they're going out and buying D'Angelo Russell, although they have no hope.
Right.
So I find it so interesting that these teams are going out and probably playing their hand a little bit earlier than free agency. And why wait now until the trade deadline or the draft? Because I think these guys are probably cheaper now. I think the price of a Clint Capela likely would have been higher in the offseason. I think it would have been higher at the start of the season. I think this was an absolutely smart move from the Hawks. Why wait? Go out and get him. He's signed long term.
Yeah.
And now you get to immediately start building rapport with Trae Young. I think it's a great move.
I love the deal for them because you nailed it. It's the Trae Young pair up. It's after what we watched James Harden and Clint Capela do in the pick and roll for the last couple of years, just be unstoppable at times. Like getting Trae Young with a roll man like Clint Capela is huge for them. Also, the addition of having some fucking rim protection on that team it's gonna be night and day because John Collins was getting abused down in the low post. Alex Len wasn't able to close out as well as people had hoped, and I think that bringing Dedmon back on the side, perfect spacing for them as a backup big. But Clint Capela being able to just dominate and get you 15 and 10 any given night, I think ideal fit. And as far as why now, I'm with you. Like this is not a team that could afford to go out and convince free agents to come in. They were going to have the money to spend because of all the contract situations that they have on their team. But it's like if we can lock somebody down long term without even having to worry about convincing them over coming to a different team for maybe a competing, like we can get them now, and as we continue to grow, we'll be competing while they're still on that deal. So,
And he's only 25.
Yeah.
which is something too. It's like you're going out and getting a player that is not going to be at the end of his contract going to be outside of his prime. He's going to be 25 this year, 26 next year. He's going to be 28 when his contract ends.
I think so,
So he's still going to be in his prime at that point. So I find that extremely exciting for them. They're going to free up $19 million once Jeff Teague's out. They'll have Parsons off the book next year. They're going to go into next year with $57.7 million.
Yep.
And now the fact that you have Trae Young, you have Clint Capela, you have Dwayne Dedmon, you have Cam Reddish and DeAndre Hunter, you have John Collins. This is a team that now made themselves Kevin Huerter. They made themselves more intriguing to free agents. How intriguing are they? Not really sure, because this isn't a huge basketball market. We know that teams down there outside of the Falcons and also their soccer team, weirdly enough, have struggled to truly, keep attendance up and thriving. And I don't know if basketball in Atlanta right now is thriving. I think people really love Trae Young down there. But no, now having a star that is very has a gravitational pull, because it seems like he was even getting that from NBA legends with his connection to Kobe.
Yeah.
I do think that this team made themselves at least somewhat more interesting for free agency. I wouldn't make them a big player next year in free agency to go out and get a wing or a guard or whatever they need, likely a 2, 3, or a 4. But I do think that they are putting themselves a little bit more into that conversation. And with that money that they can spend, be it $60 million or whatever, I think that this team could truly improve themselves.
Yeah, they're like a free agent class away from being a playoff team next year.
Absolutely.
Which is terrifying, because they made that leap so quickly. They had so many young guys come into the team, and you land a veteran like Clint Capela, who has the playoff experience. And I know you said he does get played off the floor at times, but that's because teams know how to abuse him, and when they draw him out to the perimeter, that's the thing. They've got their backup center in Dedmon. And guess what? He can go out to the perimeter. He can guard out there at least a little bit better than Clint can. So I think that you add in a veteran on the team who comes from a winning team like the Rockets. Yeah. And that's I don't want to say a franchise changer, but it changes the mentality of the team. Like, this is a team that had been losing a shit ton of games this year because John Collins was out for a chunk of time. When Trae Young wasn't on the court, they didn't have anyone who could pass the ball. Like, it was a struggling year for them. And now I feel like the locker room hopefully is a little rejuvenated by bringing in someone who has that winning pedigree. He might not be a champion, but he's as close as it comes when it comes to having a great center,
Yeah, and I think, too, with the Capela thing, if they're making the playoffs, I don't think they give a shit how he performs in the playoffs.
Probably not. That's counting on the guys like Trae Young to carry you in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I think also with Capela, it's like we know what he can do in the regular season. Yeah. He can cause damage. He's not going to get played off the floor in 82 games. So I think at that point, you're going to have someone that can at least put you into every single game throughout the 82. And if you get in the playoffs, that's what you're trying to do, because you want to keep Trae Young in Atlanta and you want to prove him that you are a winner, or you want to be on that track of winning. Because I was listening to a T-Mac thing with Kobe yesterday, and he was like, I didn't get the feeling in Orlando that they wanted to win. And this is a move that I think signifies to Trae Young, like, hey, we're not there yet, but we are making moves to build around you and try to get help for you, even this early, even if we're not that good, because we don't want you struggling out here. We do want to win, and we know how special you are. And that is a great message to send to your young point guard.
And one of the interesting tweets, when this trade went down, and this kind of goes like to what you were saying with what can they add, I don't expect this offseason to be where they add in some names, that next piece, because there's a tweet from Bobby Marks. Woj retweeted it, and that's how it came to my attention.
Because who's following Bobby Marks' ass?
Exactly.
Bobby Marks 42. Dude couldn't even get Bobby Marks.
Very smart guy. Knows the cap way better than I do.
I'm joking, Bobby Marks.
But
big fan of the show.
He tweeted out, one thing that we are seeing is cap space diminishing in the summer of 2020. Atlanta lost $20 million plus in the 2 trades, and Memphis certainly will lose room as part of the Iggy trade. Could be the summer of mid-level exceptions.
Oh, okay.
So, I saw that, and it's like, okay, so this offseason, don't expect that big fish to land. Atlanta's doing this where, hey, we're, like Sean said, we're in this to win with you. We've got our center. We might not add that big fish this year. It may be 2021 where that free agency period, that's where we're adding
Everybody's
the fish.
up in 2021.
Yeah.
Literally every star in the league is up. So
I mean,
Giannis to the Hawks.
Yeah.
Start it now.
No, that's not happening.
that's fairly unlikely.
But LeBron's got a player option. Kawhi's got a player option. Paul George's got a player option. Gordon Hayward would be an unrestricted free agent at that point. He won't have any options. Otto Porter will be an unrestricted free agent at that point. Rudy Gobert, which wouldn't make any sense. Anthony Davis, Giannis Antetokounmpo, LaMarcus Aldridge, Victor Oladipo, Dennis Schroeder. You want to bring him back. Danny Green, if we're talking about big stars. Kelly Oubre, too, which he's a stud. But the names that I do want to bring up are some of the names that I actually mentioned, the guys that have player options this year. What do you think about Otto Porter on the Hawks?
I love it.
If he declines his player option, which I don't know why he would, because his ass has been hurt this whole entire year. But
if he plays up for the last 20 games of this season like he did last season, I hate him. And also, yes.
$28.4 million he'd be turning down. I don't know if he would do that,
But in this class, who's going to get more than him?
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he can get up like the Harrison Barnes-esque deal where he can maybe get like a 4-year, $100 million deal.
Yeah.
Somewhere he can get paid. That's what I'm thinking.
That's the thing that's
Because
intriguing me to this,
competition.
because it's like Paul Millsap's going to be a free agent, but I don't think he's going to get any major money because he's 35 years old. He has been playing well, so I'm going to give him credit there. But Gordon Hayward, he might opt out.
Yeah, that's a tough one. He's played really well.
He has.
And if he can maintain his health throughout the end of this year, he's probably worth the long-term deal again.
Are you telling me that he wouldn't be a good fit on that Hawks team?
Oh, he'd be great.
He can move the ball for Trae Young.
Yeah, he'd be stellar.
I think that he'd get maxed out if he was the top guy in this class.
Yeah.
DeMar DeRozan could opt out. He could be a guy that gets max money. Then Otto Porter, Andre Drummond, Anthony Davis, Hassan Whiteside, and that's really it. Like, those are the guys that have player options that could truly make a big change on this market. And I think that it is possible that some of these guys opt out. So Otto Porter on the Hawks, I think, would be a good fit. But I don't know if he signs.
Right. Gordon Hayward would be stellar. I don't know if Boston wouldn't put up a fight on that one, though.
Joe Harris is going to be available if they do want some solidified shooting.
Yeah.
They can throw a ton of money at him and just get an upgrade over Herter. Then Danilo Gallinari is going to be available if they do want scoring. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent. A name that popped up that I am intrigued by, and I want to get your thoughts on this, Dave. Unrestricted free agent Reggie Jackson. He might get bought out, but he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. Backup point guard? Okay, all right, fair. What about this name, though?
His headphone.
Jordan Clarkson.
He's a good six man.
He's been good. He's been really good with Utah.
Yeah, that's why I think they'd like to bring him back. I don't know what the deal will look like, but yeah.
I mean, just like I'm wondering, because they have so much money. If they do make a play, they could really.
But it would.
This
would
could be the one time they can make like
Jabari
massive
deals
movement.
where it's like, I'll give you like 18 mil year one and a team op player two.
It could.
Because 2021, that's when the real prize money comes.
But then again,
I have the worry that this class will be kind of like the Luol Deng free agency class, where it's like you'll see a couple of high cash contracts, and then like we'll be like, the fuck was that for? Like, are you sure about that?
Was
one?
that 2016?
I think that was right.
The
Luol
Mozgov
Deng,
one?
Mozgov.
Was that the Big Mac Bismack Biyombo one? Yeah.
Like, these, obviously the names you read are better quality of players.
Yeah.
But it's still that, like, we're in that weird in-between year. Like, this is not the top tier free agency, but there are still a handful of really good names out there.
It looked like, I don't know if it was it the Durant year that he re-signed?
So 2016, July 8th, 2016, he signed a 4-year, $64 million contract with the LA Lakers. And then in June of 17, they traded him along with D'Angelo Russell to the Nets for Brook Lopez.
Yeah, so
and the rights to Kyle Kuzma.
So it was this year. So KD was technically a free agent, but he signed with the Warriors.
If the Nets never traded for Mozgov and D'Lo, they would have Kyle Kuzma right now.
They could have had Kyle Kuzma anyway. Like, the Lakers could have taken him anyway. They had that another pick.
No. I mean, like because in that deal, it says here, the Nets traded the rights to Kyle Kuzma to the Lakers.
Right, but that was like pick 26 for pick 28.
Okay.
Like, they had to pick 2 picks later, I think. The Lakers did.
King, he said Otto should opt in.
Because remember, they took Mo Wagner, I think, in that same year? I don't know. My memory is kind of foggy, but I'm going to look it up.
I'm just fucking... If Kuzma could have been on the Nets, it would have been fucking cool.
That was memed to death, yeah. Kuzma.
Anyways, let's go on the Kuzma route. Insignificant player. But
I mean, didn't get traded though. So there's that.
Anyways, the Kingy, bring it back to Otto Porter. Otto should opt in. I just think it's interesting with how much money the Hawks have that they could be a player that makes significant impact financially for teams, and we haven't seen that in a very long time in the NBA with the way contracts are structured.
It was Josh Hart a couple picks later. That was the whole deal.
Okay.
Was they could have taken him anyway because nobody had Kuzma that high.
Because like with the Otto Porter thing though, the thing that my brain works being a Bulls fan is yes, opt in so we can trade you. But then my mind just stops because it's like, well, that won't happen because we're never going to make a move anyway. So
you're not going to make a move anyways. But then also like,
I mean, like next year we won't trade him because we'll sit on.
Yeah, but who would want to sign, or who would want to trade for $28 million of Otto Porter Jr.'s ass?
Yeah, it's pretty unlikely, but
someone that wants an expiring, not the Atlanta Hawks.
Perhaps. I mean, maybe the Hawks would want expiring.
They have the money and the cap to take that on, but then I don't know if they want to give up anything. So I don't know. I think the Hawks deal is massively interesting just because I think they're making a great move for success for Trae Young. I don't know if they're setting up for success, but it's just like you have the money to go out and sign a wing. Yep. I think that Cam Reddish is still a project, and we won't know what he is until probably 2021, 2022. Yeah. I don't think he'll get actual starting time until then. It seems like they're working along.
He's getting starts. It's just starts on that team are like
significant starts. He's getting starts because everyone else sucks. Yeah. Like if he had actual competition, if they went out inside Otto Porter Jr., I don't know if he'd be getting starts if Otto's healthy.
I get what you're saying.
But he has been impressive. I mean, like he just played. Like in the past couple of games that he has started. Let's see.
He got 31 starts out of 46 games.
Yeah, he's had a couple stretch in the past 12 games. He's had 8 starts, 42% from the field, 41% from 3, 80% from the line, 12 points, 1.3 steals, block and a half, or a half a block, 4 boards, one and a half assists. Like I don't know if he's there yet. Like if you're bringing Cam Reddish off the bench for defensive stuff on we're talking playoff team wise.
Yeah,
that's what I think he would do. But but I think by 2021, 2022, if we think Cam Reddish is growing into what he can be, I think that's when he can actually push for a starting spot. Yeah. I really like this for the Capela thing. Any other teams or any other sides of this
piece that we didn't really talk about? I feel like and I know this is kind of comboing into the other trade, but like they shook their whole roster up.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of intrigued by that. Like they went in a completely different direction, and I'm happy for them because something needed to change, and they went kind of nuclear on it.
Yeah, they did.
And I want to give them credit because I'm jealous.
I heard it described as that, and this was from Joe Colley of the Sun-Times. He said that Karl-Anthony Towns is now running that team. Ryan Saunders is a PE head coach.
Ooh.
And now Karl-Anthony Towns running the ball, or running the ship, has now gotten his owner to force his hand to get his Cabana boy in town.
Oh, no.
So,
are we gonna have the Cabana boys? Really? Is that the? Oh, that's
Devin Booker is gonna be a wolf.
I don't think it's too far off because they did go all in on Karl-Anthony Towns. We are going to make you so happy that it doesn't matter what we're doing, what we're getting. We are just going to get whatever you want. And I think it is a bad precedent to set that while Karl-Anthony Towns is a top 20 player, probably top 15 player in the NBA, I don't know if it is worth that much to do anything for Karl-Anthony Towns. But we'll get into that a little bit later.
Yeah.
Rockets thing, Ricky, going to get your take. What do you think about them going with no center?
I mean, the Rockets with no center will be interesting. I know that a lot of people were like, what's PJ Tucker going to do when he's got to go up against like Jokic and AD in a 7-game series?
In 1 game.
But like, let's remember, PJ Tucker has done this before in the playoffs where he's played center and like has played some good defense against centers. I don't think I'm not going Max Kellerman level and saying that the Rockets are going to win a championship this year playing small ball. I'm not going that way. It'll be interesting, but I don't think they'd win a championship from this. I just think this is something of Clint Capela needed to be moved on, and that's the last thing I wanted to mention is he's a winner of this himself because he no longer has to be the scapegoat. Mm-hmm. In my mind, he was always the scapegoat with the Rockets. When they would lose, a couple things. When they would lose in the playoffs, it'd be, CP got hurt, but Clint Capela's not on the floor. Why is he not on the floor? Why are we paying him all this money when he's not on the floor in the biggest moments that we need him out there? So now he can go to Atlanta, be a little bit more free, and not be a scapegoat.
Yeah. I think Capela will at least do well in this Hawks system just because it is so open and free, and the space that Trae Young creates by himself now with an elite pick setter. He's going to do fantastic work. Any other part of this you want to mention, or you want to move on to what, boys?
I think we've covered every piece of this trade for the most part.
So,
yeah.
what's the snap for?
Well, we're thinking about
Nothing. Just keep going. We're good.
Okay.
You sure?
Yeah.
No, you snapped at me. It's usually like
No,
hey there.
So
hey there, hold
you
there,
said
hey there,
Wet Boys, and yet again, one thing forgot to do pre-show was download
the,
the Wet
Nice.
Boys.
All right. Well, anyways, that's going to do it for this topic, at least talking about the Clint Capela trade. Let us know what you think down in the comments below, whether you're an Atlanta Hawks fan, whether you're a Rockets fan, whether you're a Nuggets fan, whether you're a T-Wolves fan. What do you think about the deal? Were you a big fan of the deal? Were you not a big fan of the deal? Did you hate the deal? Did you love the deal? Let us know what you think down in the comments below. We'd appreciate your feedback.